Welcome back again to our deep dive, this time on Reddit stock. I mean, seriously, every single day it seems like it's hitting a new high since the IPO last March. I'm ticking myself a little bit here for missing out on that one.
Well, it's certainly been a fascinating ride for those who got in early. But what's interesting is that this success story, it's not just about the financials, it's also about the community and user-generated content. But hey, since you're feeling that FOMO, let's really unpack this, dive into their profile, see if this upward trend is likely to continue.
Yeah, let's do it. But first, just a quick recap for anyone who might be living under a rock. What exactly is Reddit, and why is everyone so obsessed with it?
Imagine a giant digital town square. That's essentially Reddit. Founded back in 2005, headquartered in San Francisco. Users create and moderate communities, they call them subreddits, dedicated to nearly every imaginable topic.
Right, it's that user-generated content that really seems to be their secret sauce. They've tapped into something powerful by allowing users to build their own little corners of the internet.
Exactly. It's that engaged community that drives Reddit's value. Over 2,000 employees led by CEO Steve Huffman. They've cultivated a platform that boasts a fiercely loyal and active user base.
Okay, so we get the community aspect, but let's talk numbers. Revenue growth has been pretty impressive, right?
Absolutely. In fiscal year 2023, their revenue hit $804.03 million. That's a 20.6% jump from the year before. And the forecasts are even more eye-popping. They're estimated to reach $1.31 billion this year and a whopping $1.79 billion in 2025.
See, this is what's been bugging me. All this hype, all this revenue growth, they're still not turning a profit, are they?
Yeah, that's the paradox, isn't it? Their net income for fiscal year 2023 was negative $90.82 million, and projections for this year aren't much better with an estimated EPS of negative $4.21. This is where the concept of a growth stock comes in. Investors are betting on future profitability, anticipating that Reddit will eventually turn those impressive revenues into solid profits.
Okay, so how can we tell if this bet is likely to pay off? What financial indicators should we be looking at to get a sense of their long-term health?
Well, there are a few key ratios that can give us some clues. Let's start with the debt-to-equity ratio. Reddit's is remarkably low, hovering around 0.01 in recent years.
Okay, for the finance novices out there, break that down for us. What does a low debt-to-equity ratio actually tell us?
Think of it this way. It's like checking if someone is living beyond their means. A high debt-to-equity ratio means a company is using a lot of borrowed money to finance its operations, which can be risky. Reddit's low ratio suggests they're relying more on their own resources and taking a conservative approach to debt.
Okay, so a point for financial stability. But what about their actual profitability? Are there any signs that they're moving towards turning a profit?
Well, while they're not profitable yet, the return on equity and return on assets, these measure how effectively they use their investments and assets to generate profit. Those are forecasted to improve in the coming years. If they manage to turn a profit, these metrics will start to look much healthier.
So there's hope for the future. What else should we be considering?
Their quick and current ratios are very strong, indicating ample liquidity. This means they have plenty of short-term assets readily available to cover their liabilities.
So they're in a good position to handle any immediate financial obligations. That's reassuring.
Indeed. But remember, financial data is only part of the story. We need to consider other factors like their competitive landscape potential risks and their monetization strategy to get a complete picture of Reddit's potential as an investment.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's dive into those aspects next.
So let's talk about competition. The social media and online community landscape, it's constantly evolving. New platforms are emerging all the time.
It's a digital jungle out there.
Yeah.
How can Reddit make sure they don't get lost in the noise and stay on top?
That's a key challenge for them, for sure. They need to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to user experience and features. You think about how quickly platforms like MySpace and Vine faded away.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that no company, no matter how big or popular, is immune to disruption. So how is Reddit adapting to this ever-changing landscape?
Well, they've been focusing on innovation, constantly introducing new features and tools to keep users engaged. For example, they've been experimenting with live audio and video features, as well as new ways for creators to monetize their content.
That makes sense. You got to keep things fresh and exciting for users, right? But what about the challenges of content moderation? Reddit has faced some criticism in the past for hosting controversial or even harmful content.
Right. It's a delicate balancing act for any platform that relies on user-generated content. Reddit has community guidelines and moderation policies in place, but striking that balance between free speech and protecting users from harmful content, it's an ongoing challenge.
It's like trying to herd cats.
Right.
Millions of users, thousands of subreddits. It's nearly impossible to control everything. But they have to be proactive to avoid negative press and potential legal issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And their approach to content moderation will have a direct impact on their brand reputation and user trust.
Okay, let's shift gears to monetization. How is Reddit making money from this massive user base?
Well, their primary revenue streams come from advertising and premium subscriptions. They offer various ad formats, including banner ads, sponsored posts, and video ads. And their premium subscription, Reddit Premium, provides users with ad-free browsing exclusive features and other perks.
Sounds like a pretty standard model for social media platforms. But how effective has it been? Are they generating enough revenue to justify their current valuation?
That's where things get interesting. While their revenue growth has been impressive, they still need to prove that they can convert those revenues into sustainable profits. And their ability to monetize effectively while keeping users happy, that'll be crucial to their long-term success.
It's a tightrope walk, isn't it? You need to make money, but you don't want to drive users away with too many ads or annoying features.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot is essential, and it's something investors will be watching closely.
So we've talked about competition, content moderation, and monetization. What other potential risks should investors be aware of when considering Reddit?
Well, regulatory changes are a big one. Governments around the world are increasingly scrutinizing social media platforms, particularly when it comes to data privacy, content moderation, and antitrust concerns.
Yeah, it feels like those regulations are constantly changing. Makes it tricky for platforms like Reddit to navigate.
Absolutely. And any new regulations could impact their operations, potentially leading to increased costs or even limitations on their services.
So a lot of uncertainty on the horizon. What about the broader macroeconomic environment? How might factors like inflation, interest rates, and economic growth affect Reddit's performance?
Those are important considerations as well. For example, rising inflation can put pressure on advertising budgets, potentially impacting Reddit's revenue streams.
Hmm.
And rising interest rates can make growth stocks less attractive to investors as future earnings are discounted more heavily.
Okay, so a lot of moving parts here. It's like trying to predict the weather. There are so many factors that could potentially impact Reddit's future, both positively and negatively.
Exactly. Investing in a company like Reddit requires careful consideration, thorough research, and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Okay, so before we wrap up this deep dive, let's circle back to my initial FOMO about missing out on the IPO. Given everything we've discussed, is Reddit still a potentially good investment, or have I truly missed the boat?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Reddit stock has certainly been on a tear, but there are those inherent risks and uncertainties, as we've discussed.
So it's not a guaranteed slam dunk, but it sounds like there's still potential for growth, assuming they can navigate these challenges successfully.
Exactly. It ultimately depends on your risk tolerance, investment goals, and overall financial situation.
Well, you've given me a lot to think about. I appreciate the insights. But before we jump into listener questions, I want to circle back to the current analyst forecasts and price targets for Reddit's stock.
So as of February 7th, 2025, Reddit's stock is trading at $225.70.
Yeah, that's a pretty hefty price tag.
It is, and the average 12-month price target from analysts is $157.64.
So that's actually quite a bit lower than the current price. So some analysts are predicting a potential dip then.
Right, but remember that's just an average. Some analysts are far more optimistic with price targets as high as $210.
So there's still a belief that the stock could climb even higher.
Absolutely, there's definitely potential for further upside. But on the flip side, some analysts are more cautious with price targets as low as $54.
Wow, that's a huge difference. Seems like there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding Reddit's future.
Exactly. Predicting stock market movements is notoriously difficult, especially for a company like Reddit that's still in its growth phase and hasn't achieved consistent profitability.
So how should we interpret these varying forecasts? What factors might be contributing to this wide range of opinions?
Well, it's important to remember that analyst forecasts are just educated guesses. They're not guarantees. Analysts consider a variety of factors, including financial performance, industry trends, competitive landscape, and macroeconomic conditions.
So they're trying to piece together a complex puzzle with a lot of missing pieces.
Precisely, and different analysts might weigh these factors differently, leading to varying predictions. It's essential to do your own research, consider multiple perspectives, and not rely solely on analyst forecasts.
So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Look at the bigger picture and make informed decisions. That's great advice. You know what's fascinating to me is how Reddit has managed to build such a strong brand and loyal community, despite facing many of the same challenges as other social media platforms.
It really is a testament to the power of user-generated content and that sense of belonging that Reddit fosters. People feel like they're part of something meaningful, a community of like-minded individuals.
It's like a virtual town square where people can connect, share ideas, and even mobilize for social change. I mean, we saw that with movements like the GameStop short squeeze, which demonstrated the collective power of retail investors.
Absolutely. Reddit has become a force to be reckoned with, both in the financial world and in the broader social and cultural landscape.
It makes you wonder what the future holds for them. Will they continue to disrupt traditional markets? Will they become even more integrated into our daily lives?
It's exciting to think about the possibilities. One thing's for sure, Reddit's journey is far from over.
I agree. And it's a reminder that sometimes the most successful companies are the ones that tap into our fundamental human need for connection and community.
Well said. It's been a pleasure exploring the depths of Reddit with you.
Likewise, and I think we've given our listeners a lot to chew on.
Mm.
Hopefully they've gained some valuable insights into Reddit's business model, their financial health, and their potential as an investment.
I hope so too, and perhaps they'll even be inspired to do their own deep dive into the fascinating world of online communities and their impact on our society.
That is all from us. Really appreciate all the support. Please help to like and subscribe. Good night.